Time now for some sports news. Israel-based duo of John Ugu and Anthony Wakeme are the early arrivals in the Super Eagles camp for Saturday's 2018 World Cup qualifier against Zambia. Other players to hit Nigeria's camp in New York are Silver Sport defender Elderson Echejile, Ogenekaro Etebo, Ikechukwu Ezenwa, and Plateau United goalkeeper Dele Ajiboye. The full complement of the team, led by coach Gernot Rohr, will have its first training session on Tuesday. That's tomorrow. Barcelona have announced that the club will be closed on Tuesday as they take part in a Catalan strike called for by Pt.4 Democracy. The strike has been called after a referendum on Catalan independence ended in chaos and violence on Sunday. No senior players will report to training on Tuesday, while the youth teams will also be allowed to stay at home. Barcelona previously took part in a standstill on Monday, with club employees ceasing work for 15 minutes at midday. Manchester United striker Romelu Lukaku has pleaded not guilty after he was arrested in the United States earlier this year following a noise complaint. Lukaku was given a misdemeanor citation in July after allegedly receiving 5 verbal warnings from police over a 5-day period in California. He didn't appear in court in person, but was represented by his lawyer, who entered a plea of not guilty on his behalf. Lukaku is expected back in court on November the 21st. And that's a wrap on Sports News. The news at 10 continues shortly.
Thank you, Ayo. Authorities have shut the internet in the English-speaking part of Cameroon following clashes with independent supporters on Sunday. Sunday's rallies were held on the 56th anniversary of the reunification of the country, with activists calling for the release of prisoners arrested in earlier demonstrations. The country's biggest mobile phone operator sent out text messages on Sunday evening saying it had problems with its internet connections. But many suspect the internet is again being deliberately blocked by the authorities, having been embarrassed by the protests. The divisions in the Central African state date back to the post-colonial settlement. Cameroon was colonized by Germany, then split into British and French areas after World War I, and was eventually reunified in 1961. Since then, the English-speaking minority has always complained that it has faced discrimination. More than 58 people are now said to have been killed in the shooting that occurred on Sunday night at an open-air concert in Las Vegas, and more than 500 others are injured. The gunman, identified as 64-year-old Nevada resident Stephen Paddock, opened fire from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. Although the so-called Islamic State says it was behind the attack and that Paddock had converted to Islam some months ago, the FBI says there has been no connection to international terrorist organizations at this point.
Gunfire raining down rapidly from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel in Las Vegas. People scampering for cover, a panicked crowd fleeing as the sustained shooting rips through the air. What was supposed to be a fun night for many turned into a deadly night of horror. 22,000 people had gathered for an open-air music festival, but 50 of them wound up killed and over 400 severely injured.
All of a sudden, the shots got real, and I had my wife had dropped down to just kind of duck, and I told her to get up and start, well, let's just start going. And as we did that, there was a gal that was off to the right of us that got shot in the side of her face and was bleeding. And anyway, so it was very scary at the time.
The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department identified the gunman as a 64-year-old man, area resident Stephen Paddock. The police sheriff says there's no information yet about his motive, as he had no criminal record and was not believed to be connected to any militant group.
Obviously, this is a tragic incident and one that we've never experienced in this valley. So what we're going to try to do is the best we can to get our first responders back on their feet and responding and conducting a proper investigation and ensure that we have the safety of this community at heart. My condolences go out to the loved ones that lost their lives and their families, and we will do the best we can to make it as easy as possible for you to get information as we know it.
In reaction to the incident, U.S. President Donald Trump addressed the mass shooting, offering his condolences to victims.
To the wounded who are now recovering in hospitals, we are praying for your full and speedy recovery and pledge to you our support from this day forward. In memory of the fallen, I have directed that our great flag be flown at half-staff. I will be visiting Las Vegas on Wednesday to meet with law enforcement, first responders, and the families of the victims. In moments of tragedy and horror, America comes together as one, and it always has.
The death toll, which is emphasized as preliminary and tentative, would make the attack the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history, eclipsing last year's massacre of 49 people at an Orlando nightclub.
And the main news again. Speakers at the platform in Lagos today inspired hope towards resolving the nation's challenges as they asked citizens to promote the country's strengths and de-emphasize her weaknesses. Also today, Labour leaders at a forum in Abuja recommended selfless leadership as the way towards sustaining peace and national unity in the country. That's tonight's News at 10. Thanks for being with us. My name is Ladi Akiri Doluale. Good night.